spoke earlier about how advocating for sort of widespread decriminalization might create a safe space for medical marijuana, but how does what does focus on medical marijuana as opposed to broader decriminalization?
It helps. I'll say one thing. I know there's this, I'm back here at Pound and I've been here for a while, but I don't mean to pick on your language. I know that's what people say. I don't know the difference between decriminalization and legalization. I mean, decriminalization means it's not a crime to do it. Well, it's not a crime for me to do things, then they're legal. Have people decriminalized by buying a suit? So, I mean, I think it was meant, I'm not making a criminal. Well, that's legal. I mean, if it's...
I was using that interchangeably.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I use that you, and it's clear that you were not into that trap, but there are people who, it's kind of a halfway house. But I think it helps. I think it helps both ways. That is, look, most people think of medicine as a good thing. People want Christian Scientists. That's a very large number of people. Marijuana has been, I think, unfairly characterized as this terrible negative thing that does weird things to your personality and your behavior, which are mostly not true. And so identifying it as a good thing helps. It de-demonizes marijuana. So in that sense, I think it is even more helpful. How can it be that it's such a terrible thing when in fact it helps people, particularly, let's be very clear what marijuana is mostly prescribed for: pain alleviation. People in terrible pain from serious illnesses. I mean, there is nothing that's more sympathetic to people than alleviating pain. So I think the positive associations of it being curative and healing and relieving help get people to understand it's okay. Plus, there's another factor. There are in any given state that allows it a number of people who are taking marijuana, and they don't freak out, and they don't crash their cars, and they don't do crazy things. And we can say, see, I mean, it has none of the negative personality effects which you expected it to have. So it's helpful. Yes?
I just wanted to ask briefly about Sativex coming to the market, and if that is what's affecting federal prosecution.
The what?
Sativex, like the pharmaceutically viable one, and if you think that poses challenges.
No, I think I don't know why the Obama people are doing this. Look, you get to be a prosecutor, and I will say this, in fairness to them. There is no question that some of the people are using the existence of medical marijuana statutes to make marijuana more widely available than the medical marijuana statutes contemplate. And my answer is, I would quote my grandmother, no, who cares? Okay, is that such a problem in this world? Are there no other problems you can go after? I mean, I did this with regard to gambling. It is true, there were people who were engaged in internet, because I think the laws against internet gambling are ridiculous. And although I know I get some problems from the liberals here, for some reason, I have liberal friends who are for letting people smoke marijuana, and they are for letting 14-year-olds get abortions without telling their parents in certain circumstances, and for people being able to read and watch the most degrading depictions of the human body, all of which I also support. But they won't let people gamble. And I don't understand why that became such an exception to a general sense of letting people make their own choices, whether you like them or not. But I said with regard to gambling, the Obama administration started prosecuting people who were engaged in illegal gambling on the internet. And some of them were engaged in illegal gambling. And my response was, with all the things, with the New York, the Southern District of New York U.S. Attorney, who's got the financial stuff in his bailiwick. And my response was, I just think that he could have found other things to go after, particularly with the mortgage crisis and the lack of some prosecutions there. When I said, instead of going after people trying to get a full house, I wish you would have gone after people who made all the empty houses. And it's the same with this. And so, in fairness to them, yeah, there was clearly, in some cases, a pattern of violation. But U.S. attorneys can't prosecute everything. They have to make a distinction. And the problem here is, and I don't mean to say they're simply letting law violators off. As they crack down on the violators, they're getting an awful lot of people who aren't violators. The screen is not that fine. So what's the deal? Are you going to let some people get away with making it more available than the technical parameters of the law allow? Or are you going to crack down on people who are in terrible pain and find marijuana useful? I'm very troubled that they made the wrong choice about that. Thank you all.